What's up, guys? Today I wanted to do a video on what we know Ashes of Creation has to offer to the PvP driven players such as myself. We got a little bit more information regarding PvP thanks to the AMA with Steven this week, and I think now would be a really good time to go over some of the systems we currently have information on. It seems like we're going to have a lot, if not all of these features on display in Alpha 2, and I honestly cannot wait to finally have a game with enough PvP options to keep things from getting stale. Now, I'm not going to go too into depth into each one, as this is intended to be more of an overview, and later on I'm going to be diving deeper into each system as we get closer to Alpha 2, so that we have a better understanding and I'm not just making everything up. So we're going to start off with World PvP, as that's what the majority of players will be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And I mean, honestly, we have tons of reasons to engage in World PvP. I mean, we have fighting over resources, hunting grounds, caravans, bounty hunting, castle sieges, guild wars, and of course, everyone's favorite, loot. Ashes of Creation uses the corruption system to determine what kind of penalties will be applied to the player while corrupted and on death. Now, I found a phenomenal interview that Summit 1G did with Steven, and that explains things a little bit better, so let's get into that and we'll talk more.
So the way it works is players will exist out in the open, and they will be in a non-combatant state, right? So they'll have a normal name color. It'll be green. If you roll up and you see somebody and you want to attack them, you can attack them, right? And your name will now change to a purple color. You'll flag, essentially. Now, what this does is it lets anybody attack you, and they'll flag as well. They'll become a combatant, right? And if anybody dies while they're flagged, there's no harm done. You actually lose less from an experience standpoint. You drop less material and gatherables, not your items, not completed items. So it encourages reciprocation in fighting, right?
Wait, time out. Before we move on, you're telling me you kill people, they can drop just like little potions and stuff, even if they're a combatant?
No, potion is a completed item. So the only thing you could drop, you'll drop a portion of, is your gathered resources. So those are like plants and rocks or stone or gems, stuff like that, that you have yet to put into your warehouse. And then, or your processed goods. So essentially a processed good is, let's say I take that, that iron or that mithril, and I go create with my freehold, I put it into my smelter and I create, these ingots of those, which are then able to be used alongside recipes for crafting certain things, right? So you can drop a lesser portion of the materials and a greater portion of the raw gatherables.
Dude, so you can, it's kind of like Rust or like War Z. You have to kind of like make it back to town safe and get all your stuff back into your spot.
Exactly. However, this is what I would say. So when you attack another person and you flag and they fight you back, right? No corruption can be gained from that. That's consensual PvP. People are engaging that. But if the person does not fight back and you continue to attack them and you kill them without them having flagged, at that point you gain corruption. And corruption is a stat that accrues depending on two things. One, the number of previous kills you have, PKs where people didn't fight back, and two, the level difference between you and the target that you killed, right? So if you kill a much lower level person, you're going to gain much more corruption. Now, corruption has a few effects on a player. One, if you have corruption, you now have the ability to drop completed gear that you're wearing if you die. Okay, so there's a small percentage chance that when you die, you'll drop, like, let's say your gloves, or a lesser chance of dropping your weapon, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens as well is the death penalties that happen from a normal death get quadrupled if you're corrupt and you die. So there is experience debt that can be gained from death, and you'll gain 4 times that experience debt if you die while corrupt. Additionally, your location as a corrupt player is broadcast to the bounty hunters of the world. So there are 4 different node types, of which one is a military node type. The military node type comes with a bounty hunter system that players can opt into and progress in. While they're a bounty hunter, they see the location of corrupt players in the world, and they can chase them down and fight. And
That's
and then
insane.
there are benefits for the corrupt player and or the bounty hunter based off of their success in killing one another. And the corrupt player doesn't gain more corruption for killing bounty hunters. Bounty hunters are always flagged to corrupt players.
Dude, that's so
Um,
cool. That's almost like people will be able to make their money just being mercenaries in your game, dude. Just
Right.
what the?
Yeah, the flagging system actually really discourages griefing in the sense of PKing players. So in Lineage 2, like, Lineage 2 had a very similar system called Karma. Um, Karma didn't have some of these components to them, but you rarely saw in Lineage 2 people going red. I mean, it happened, right? But it wasn't all the time. It wasn't super prevalent. You didn't go out of town each day and worry about getting PK'd.
Mhm.
In that sense, we put a little bit more safety nets here to kind of discourage griefing and encourage consensual PvP, right? Those death penalties get halved. You lose less items if you fight back. These are some of the systems in place to kind of encourage that.
Mhm.
Honestly, after watching through days of content and reading countless wiki posts, it looks like Intrepid is really taking the time to make sure there's a ton for PvPers to do. And that all the systems are really well thought out as to not promote complete chaos, which inevitably would cause players to quit, as it's done time and time again. The corruption systems and bounty systems alone are something that we haven't had in MMORPGs for a long time, and I'm not quite sure why we ever got rid of them in the first place. Now, before this video gets too long, I'd like to briefly discuss a few of the topics in the AMA regarding PvP. We saw that when nodes get destroyed in Siege or Decay, they will become lootable ruins for a few days, or more depending on the level of node. Now, this is going to be an open PvP area that you will need time and tools to scavenge, and it'll also give surrounding nodes the chance to level up before this node can be rebuilt. And we also got some information regarding nameplate visibility, which is actually extremely important considering how much information we actually get off of players from their nameplates, which I'll do a video on soon, because I don't think a lot of you really understand how much information we'll be getting from them. Now, Steven said that we will not have prone in the game, and they're still trying to decide if we're gonna have crouching, but that line of sight will play a factor, and that there will be certain abilities that reduce your visibility. Now, that could be items that you create and use as abilities. It might be class-specific skill abilities. We'll have to see. Next up, we had a question regarding the render distance or view distance of others on the sea, and the response was that it'll be similar to on land. However, ships will have further render distances, so you'll be able to see a ship further out there in the sea than you can see a person, which makes sense. But that will also have attachments on ships based on what type of ship it is. It will determine how many attachments you can have on the ship, and these attachments will give you different bonuses, like radar or a spyglass, etc. That's about all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and come check me out on my Twitch channel sometime. We stream pretty regularly, and I'm going to be streaming full time once Ashes does release. Catch you next time, man. Stay lit.